Which actor portrayed a character so well that no other actor could ever replace them? Christopher Lloyd as Dr. Emmett Brown. Kathy Bates in Misery. Most of her roles are spot on though. Jeff Bridges, the Dude. Tim Curry, Dr. Frankenfurter. Sorry to all those who try. I forget the name, but the actress who played the aunt in the 1950s Importance of Being Earnest delivered the line, a hand baag, so iconically that every portrayal on stage or screen has been forced to decide to mimic or avoid it deliberately. J.K. Simmons as John Jonah Jameson. Christoph Waltz was fantastic as Hans Landa in Inglourious Basterds. Won an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. Arguably the best character in that film. Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice. Julie Andrews as Maria in The Sound of Music. Bryan Cranston as Walter White and Bob Odenkirk as Saul Goodman. Johnny Depp as Jack Sparrow. Patrick Stewart as Picard. Andy Serkis as Gollum and Christopher Lee as Count Dooku Saruman. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Terminator. Viggo as Aragorn and Ian McKellen as Gandalf. Edit. I must start disabling replies. It's an honor to have my top comment about a lesser. James Gandolfini as Tony Soprano. And yes, I realize his son may end up playing a younger version of that character. But the middle-aged Tony could never be portrayed by anyone else. Harrison Ford as Henry, Indiana, Jones Jr. Definitely Hugh Laurie as House. James Earl Jones, voice of Darth Vader. Christopher Walken in the video, Weapon of Choice. Alan Rickman as Snape. Robin Williams as the Genie. Yes, there was the Will Smith remake, but hear me out. No one in the world could replace the genius improvisational comedy that is the Robin Williams Genie. That's why they didn't have Will doing all the voices, jokes, and pop culture references that Robin did, because that kind of genie belongs to the one and only Robin Williams. Raul Julia as Gomez Adams. Mandy Patinkin as Inigo Montoya. Also, Andre the Giant as Fezzik. Also, Cary Elwes as Wesley. Alan Tudyk as Hey Hey. No one else could have made that character believable. Jim Carrey as Ace Ventura. Jack Gleason as Joffrey and Ewan Rion as Ramsay in Game of Thrones. And #X200B, Anthony Starr as Homelander in The Boys. Ralph Fiennes as Herman Goethe in Schindler's List. Never hated a man more. Bravo Mr. Fiennes. Edit. Yes, I know it's Amongoth, my mistake. It's been a few years since I've seen the film. Val Kilmer as Doc Holliday. I've seriously seen Tombstone so many times and his performance makes it a great movie every time. David Bowie as Jareth, the Goblin King. Imelda Staunton as Dolores Umbridge. Jason Alexander George Constanza. Tom Hanks, Forrest Gump. Steve Carell as Michael Scott. Rowan Atkinson, Mr. Bean. Edit, fixed name. Gene Wilder as Willy Wonka. Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark and Johnny Depp as Captain Jack Sparrow. The air just, flat out, perfect for their roles. Meryl Streep as Miranda Priestley in The Devil Wears Prada. James Spader as Raymond Reddington in The Blacklist. Uma Thurman as the bride. If Nikki Bell grows up to take revenge, that is. Haven't seen it mentioned, so Helena Bonham Carter as Bellatrix Lestrange. When reading the books, it's who I saw in my head playing her. Edit. Wow, woke up to 2K likes and some awards. Thank you, nice to see so many people agree. Robin Williams's Genie. Not to bash on Will Smith too much, but it just never should have happened. Ryan Reynolds Deadpool. Michael Richards as Kramer. The mannerisms alone would be awful if done by anyone else. There's something about the way he played the character that is so unique. Daniel Day-Lewis as Bill the Butcher. J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson. I firmly believe he was too good at the role in the Raimi trilogy to be recasted, and so the MCU didn't bring the character back until they could get Simmons to reprise it. Ricardo Montalban playing Khan in Star Trek II. No disrespect to Benedict Cumberbatch, but the original performance was just so perfect in every way. Also, Christopher Lloyd playing Doc Brown in the Back to the Future series. Great Scott. James Avery as Uncle Phil. Richard Dean Anderson as MacGyver. George C. Scott as Patton. Scott was not true to Patton's size or high-pitched speech, but the intensity offered by Scott was fantastic. My father, who was present at Patton's address to the 5th INFDIV in Morn Park, Northern Ireland, before the invasion, was mesmerized. Bruce Willis as John McClane. I know the franchise had gone downhill, but can you honestly imagine a reboot going through with someone else in the role? Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones. David Suchet as Poirot. Sigourney Weaver as Ripley, but I could have tolerated Jodie Foster. Gary Oldman in, well, almost any of his roles. Aaron Paul in Breaking Bad as Jesse Pinkman. Peter Falk as Columbo. The objectively correct answer is Christopher Lloyd as Doc Brown in Back to the Future. Completely irreplaceable performance. Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker. Nick Offerman as Ron Swanson. Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin. Wilson Fisk in Netflix's Daredevil. He was the *perfect* pick for a live-action version of that character. God, I miss that show. Rowan Atkinson as Mr. Bean. Michael J. Fox Back to the Future. Jason Bateman nailed Marty Byrde. Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi. No one in here admitting no one could ever live up to Tom Hiddleston's Loki. Heath Ledger, Joker. Robert Shaw as Quint in Jaws. I don't think anyone else could have pulled off that level of unhinged sadness without looking completely over the top. Michael C. Hall as Dexter. Mads Mikkelsen as Hannibal. Bryan Cranston as Walter White. Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. Alan Rickman as Snape. Andy Serkis as Gollum. Anthony Starr as Homelander. Charles Dance as Tywin Lannister. Basically the entire Game of Thrones cast. Willem Dafoe in Boondock Saints. Clint Eastwood playing as the Man with No Name. Carrie Fisher as Leia Organa. Kurt Russell as Jack Burton, Big Trouble in Little China. Michael K. Williams, Omar from The Wire. Peter Dinklage as Tyrion Lannister. Samuel L. Jackson, Nick Fury. There aren't enough mentions on the thread for voice roles, and I think these people deserve a mention. Robin Williams Genie, James Earl Jones Mufasa and Darth Vader, Jeremy Irons Scar, Mark Hamill Joker, Kevin Conroy Batman, Douglas Rain HAL 9000, Peter Cullen Optimus Prime, Frank Welker Megatron and Scooby-Doo, Tom Hanks Woody, Tim Allen Buzz, Mike Myers Shrek, Eddie Murphy Donkey and Mushu, Patrick Warburton Kronk, Eartha Kitt Isma, David Spade Kuzco, John Goodman Pacha and Sully, Billy Crystal, Mike Steve Buscemi, Randall James Woods, Hades, Danny DeVito, Phil Dwayne Johnson, Maui, Tony J. Claude Frollo, Scarlett Johansson, Samantha, Matthew Lillard, Shaggy, Tom Kenny, SpongeBob, Bill Fagerback, Patrick, Dan Castellaneta, Homer Simpson, Tara Strong, Raven, Dante Bosco, Zuko, Mako, Uncle Iroh, Gray Griffin, Princess Azula, Billy West, Philip J. Fry, John DiMaggio, Bender, Stephen Ogg, Trevor Phillips and #X200B. There is a lot to mention, the list keeps going on, feel free to write some below. Vivian Lee as Scarlett O'Hara. Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. Chris Pratt as Andy in Parks and Rec. Darcy Carden as Janet and Ted Danson as Michael in Good Place. So many more. Chadwick Boseman *RIP. The obvious answer might be Al Pacino as Michael Corleone. But perhaps a better answer might be John Cazale as weak-minded Fredo. I mean, the guy was in 5 movies, all of which were nominated for Best Picture. In case you're wondering, The Godfather 1 and 2, The Deer Hunter, Dog Day Afternoon, and The Conversation. He was such a talent that we lost too soon to lung cancer. Jeff Goldblum as Ian Malcolm in Jurassic Park. As one who read the book, I thought his portrayal was better than the source material. Chris Evans nails Captain America in the MCU. Brad Pitt as Tyler Durden in Fight Club. Dame Maggie Smith, Dowager Countess of Grantham in Downton Abbey. Remus Lupin in Harry Potter, I don't remember the actor's name. Tom Ellis, Lucifer. Catherine O'Hara as Moira Rose. Christopher Reeve, Superman. I know we've had several since, but no one embodies the role like him. He set the standard, and no one has come close since. Christoph Waltz as Hans Landa. Steve Carell, Michael Scott. Michael Cera captured the awkwardness of Scott Pilgrim perfectly. Aubrey Plaza as April Ludgate. The part was literally written for her. Matthew Fox as Jack from Lost and Bryan Cranston as Walter. Bob Odenkirk as Saul Goodman and Aaron Paul as Jesse Pinkman. Jeff Bridges, the Dude. Borat playing Sacha Baron Cohen. Robert Sheehan as Klaus from the Umbrella Academy. Couldn't imagine anyone else in that role. Daniel Day-Lewis in Gangs of New York. Andrew Lincoln, Rick Grimes. Keanu Reeves as John Wick. Henry Cavill as The Witcher. Joffrey Baratheon, Lannister's actor. He's a cool, nice fella, but hell, that character was perfect to be hated. Every expression, everything he did was just perfectly acted, and we ducking hated him to death, and some even applauded his death, I bet. That actor made such a punchable face and was so obnoxious and a cretin on scene, I doubt anyone else could fit that role. Tom Hiddleston as Loki, Johnny Depp as Captain Jack, Cillian Murphy as Tommy Shelby, Reese Witherspoon as Elle Woods, Helen McCrory as Polly Gray, Maggie Smith as Minerva McGonagall, Lena Headey as Cersei, Charles Dance as Tywin. Edit. Might as well just go all in for Peaky Blinders and add Paul Anderson as the iconic Arthur Shelby. Natalie Dormer as Marjorie Tyrell in Game of Thrones. In the books she's not much more than a secondary character. She played the part so well they actually made her more of a major player in the show.